We have reestablished our connection with New York City public advocate Jumaane Williams, who visited the very troubled Rikers Island early this week. Jumaane, I was asking you before the break what you saw when you visited the island this week.
As I was mentioning, and it was bad then. The precipitous drop off to what it devolved into is just stunning. Unless you've seen it, it was really hard to describe. People were housed there, even people who worked there. We saw people who were incarcerated, who were sharing bags in their cells because they didn't have toilets. Cells that should have 2 people, having 6 people. Intake that should take 24 hours, taking 7-8 days. People with fractured hands and wounds, not seeing a doctor. There were people who were HIV patients saying they weren't getting their medication. There were people with mental health issues not getting their medication. There were incarcerated folks just walking around. We had one person drop the weapon. They had to be grabbed. People sleeping in filth. If you were lucky, you had a shower that you were housed in that you can lay down on. But it was even your own filth. There was one person, 2 people we saw actually that were in shower cells that you couldn't even sit down. One of them was naked and had been there for 2 days, we were told. I wasn't sure if it was urine or water that was dripping off of them. What we saw there was just unconscionable. We also had corrections officers who had been working triples, some of them said even quadruples, who themselves were in dangerous situations. The island itself is dangerous for anyone who's in there, who's working there or who's housed there. And it's just terribly unacceptable. And this is many years in the making, but I don't think it's been this bad. It's just very hard to describe. I wasn't able to sleep that night, to tell you the truth.
So what is the solution here? How do we fix this?
One, we have to continue to move forward to the plan that we have closing Rikers. The Commissioner Shirali, who's new there, just got there, actually has a decent midterm plan, but we need something right now. And so the 3 things that we have to have is we have to continue to decarcerate. There are people on the island who don't need to be there. There are low-level offenders, people who can be on supervised release. We need the governor to sign what's called the Less is More Act and have it taking effect right now so we can get some people off the island. Of course, people who have mental health problems. It was a lion's share of people who literally had mental health issues should not be on the island. We also need to have correctional officers come back to work. There's no other way to do this. We can't hire new people because they won't be online soon enough. But I understand their safety concerns. I understand the issues that they've had, but it's like a cycle. You can't fix it without staff, and staff are concerned. So we have to do the 3rd thing, which is the correction facilities have to show good faith attempts to show that they're trying to keep everyone, including staff, safe. That includes fixing doors that have been broken for a very long time. The dysfunction wasn't just created. And I'll be remiss if I didn't mention on both sides of those bars is primarily Black and brown people. The correction officers union is primarily Black and brown, also women who are being assaulted physically and sexually as well. So those 3 things, if we can pull those levers at the same time, right now, we may have a shot. In the courtrooms, we also need to see the courtrooms start moving a little bit faster because they're bottlenecking some people. I will also add, we met someone who missed their court date because they had no one to take them to it. And I wish that was a solo story, but we've heard that time and time again.
We'd like to thank Jumaane Williams for joining us tonight and sticking through our problems. We really appreciate it, sir. We're going to keep an eye on what's happening on Rikers Island. That's really a tragedy. Now to Colorado, where an investigation into the Aurora Police Department finds a pattern of racial bias and excessive force. BNC correspondent Answer Hassan has more on those findings.
Joseph Okai knows what it's like to deal with the Aurora Police Department.
I saw that I was being followed by this police and he pulled me over because at that moment I knew I had not done anything. I was on my way to work.
His crime? Accidentally crossing over the yellow line.
I'm sure the police have much better things to do than, stop somebody or pull somebody over for straying.
Okai was lucky. He just got a written warning. Was it racial profiling? Was it a proper traffic stop? Either way, Okai believes Aurora police deal differently with communities of color. And Colorado Attorney General Phil Weiser agrees. His department issued a 120-page report detailing what they called a pattern and practice of racially biased policing. His department's 14-month-long investigation found that the Aurora Police Department has a culture in which officers treat people of color, especially black people, differently than white people, and where law enforcement frequently escalate encounters with civilians. Among the findings, Aurora police officers use force against people of color 2.5 times more than against whites. Almost half of those incidents involve black people. The department also arrests people of color 1.3 times more than white people, and black people twice as many times as compared to white people. Those numbers become more problematic given the demographics, where white people are 60% of the population and black people accounting for about 17%. Aurora City Council member Juan Marcano believes the issue stems from the culture of the city's police department.
Ours here in Aurora is a holdover from the, frankly, white supremacist elements in our city.
Marcano says there is the political climate right now that is forcing change. He also credits the Aurora Police Chief, Vanessa Wilson, for taking action to change the culture over the past year.
She's been willing to terminate folks who are not living up to the expectations that she has set for the department.
This is wrong, that we need to have a police in our communities that we trust, and that right now we quite frankly do not.
In 2020, State Representative Leslie Herod sponsored the Colorado State Police Accountability Bill. It gives the Attorney General the power to investigate police departments and sue if necessary. She attributes the family of Elijah McClain for being champions in the police reform effort. McClain was a young unarmed black man who died 6 days after being put in a chokehold by police and sedated by paramedics with a powerful drug. She says without more accountability, more people of color are at risk.
We heard what happened to Elijah McClain. We know he was murdered at the hands of law enforcement, paramedics, and fire. And we know that there was going to be no accountability after that murder unless the people of Colorado spoke up.
I'm Ansar Hassan for Prime with Charles Blow.
Stay with us. More Prime after the break.